Alright, we are a few months into the year of 2025. So let's take a look at what this year had to offer in movies. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Mere and welcome back to my channel. I know it has been a long time. I've been absent for quite a few weeks, a few months even. It's not really my intention to stay away that long, but the last few weeks, the last few months actually, they were very busy. I had a lot to do. I was feeling really tired, was not feeling myself, so really needed some time for myself first. But I'm back and I'm very eager to talk about movies again, to talk with you about movies, to give my recommendations, to talk about the new movies. And that is what I'm gonna do in this video as well. I wanna talk about the newer movies of this year. I know I did not had the time to do a lot of reviews of these movies, but to be frankly, a lot of these movies, they were not really any standout movies. Not really movies that I can do an entire review about. I don't know. These were just kind of movies that I just let them pass by. Nothing that special, but I just want to give my quick thoughts on these movies. It's a total of 7 movies that I have seen in the first month, so mostly January, February, March and a bit of April. But there are some other movies that I'm actually planning to do on giving a full review on them. But I want to talk about these movies. And I'm not really that impressed with what 2025 had to offer as a movie year. The movies that came out in the beginning of this year, they were actually quite disappointing, to be honest. Some of these movies I had some expectations, not the biggest expectations, but still some expectations, but they just didn't deliver, and that's sometimes really shameful. Anyhow, what I'm gonna do is gonna talk about each of these movies, just give my quick thoughts. What did I like, what did I not like, do I recommend it or do I not recommend it. And like I said, there are some movies from the first months of this year that I had not seen yet, that I had not the time to see them, to check them out, or I was just not really feeling them. I don't really had an urge to see them on the big screen directly. For example, the movie Mickey 17 was a new Bong Joon-ho movie, the director from the Oscar-winning movie Parasite. That was his newest movie since that year. At first I was actually excited, but then I saw the trailers and they did not do much for me. So I haven't seen it. Also, a Minecraft movie. Yeah, that was just not a movie for me. So let's talk about the movies that I did see. And the first movie, one of the first movies I have seen after Den of Thieves 2, that was the movie Flight Risk, another action movie directed by Mel Gibson. And I can say this already, I think this is gonna be, or at least a strong contender for being the worst movie of this year. This was my biggest disappointment that I had this year so far. This movie was really awful. I cannot say anything positive about this. And I was actually looking forward to this movie because of the name Mel Gibson attached as director. And Mel Gibson actually has a very impressive filmography as a director. He made movies like Hacksaw Ridge, which I'm a big fan of, Braveheart, Apocalypto, so really great historical epic movies. And now he has Flight Risk, an action movie in which almost the entire movie takes place in a very tiny plane. I don't know, man, this movie just don't really work, and if you compare it with his other movies in the filmography, whew, this is just a real big stinker. I'm sorry, I just have to say it like this. This movie was awful. And Mark Wahlberg, he is the main lead. He was actually the antagonist, the villain. And they really set him up as this crazy madman. And in the beginning of the movie, you get a feeling, oh yeah, he's gonna be a crazy madman. And if you do that, if you set a character up as a crazy madman, use him as a crazy madman. They did not do anything with this character to make the movie remotely a bit interesting. And the movie is just three characters constantly talking to each other in this plane, and then some things happen, they have to deal with that, and of course, you know, they're gonna fix it no matter what. It's that kind of movie, so no, I absolutely did not like this movie. Another action movie that I have seen this year, which I had high hopes for, was A Working Man. And this is a new Jason Statham movie. Now, you're probably gonna say, another Jason Statham movie, he always plays the same kind of movies, the same kind of character. Yes, that is basically true. But this is from David Ayer. And David Ayer, he and Jason Statham made The Beekeeper last year. And I think that movie was just really awesome. That was a cool action movie. And I thought A Working Man would be in that same level. On that same level of action, character, story. But that was not the case. I really thought we're gonna focus on a character played by Jason Statham. He's just a working man with a past, and then something comes on his path, and he has to be basically the hero and save the day with some action sequences. And the movie started that way, but I don't know. The movie has a lot of difficulties to keep itself interesting or fascinating. It's just boring sequences, then pretty tame action sequences, then some other dialogue, exposition, going to another thing, and I don't know. It was fine. It was a fine movie. It's just that typical Saturday evening movie in which you don't have to think a lot on. For a Jason Statham movie, it's just one of the few. I can have my joy with it, but I expected a bit more from this movie, to be honest. Then, what I also saw was Black Bag. Completely different movie. That is absolutely not an action-packed movie. I don't even think there is one action scene in this movie. It's a very dialogue-heavy movie. But what I was really interested in this movie is that it was directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's a director that I have seen some good things from him. And Black Bag, it's an okay movie. It's actually a more than fine movie. But you have to be in the mood for this kind of movie. If you are looking for action-packed stuff or with a bit of comedy in it, Black Bag is not that kind of movie. It's really an espionage movie about a character that's played by Michael Fassbender, and he basically has a mission to find a mole in the organization. And there are just, I believe, 4 or 5 options, and he basically has to interrogate them on subtle ways to find out who is the traitor. And that is actually very fascinating. During the entire movie, I was actually very fascinated in his search for this mole. And I was constantly guessing that is a big positive on this movie, at least for me. It was not logical or obvious who the mole is. You really have to guess, you have to think about, the same as the character of Michael Fassbender, and then at the end you know who who the character is, and that is a fascinating movie. But maybe it's not the best movie to watch when you are very tired. You really have to keep focus on this movie, because you're gonna miss important things in this movie. But I can recommend this. It's not a standout for the year. It's definitely not gonna be in my top 10, but it's an okay movie to fill some time. Let's talk some horror movies. I have seen 3 horror movies from the beginning of the year. The first one that I was really anticipating was The Monkey. It was directed by Osgood Perkins. He's one of these modern directors that I'm really admiring, really loving his work, especially The Blackcoat's Daughter, last year Longlegs, and now he had The Monkey. Different kind of horror, more Final Destination-esque, accidental, gory horror movie about a toy monkey that causes a lot of things. Very interesting movie, but I feel like the movie missed something. Everything was there, but there was something that was missing that makes the movie more stand out, special, that keeps thinking about it. Just a movie you watch, you have a good time. I laughed a couple of times because it has a very good sense of dark humor, which I like, gory kills, so I had a good time. But it's not a movie that meanders in my head after I watched it. Also, The Death of the Unicorn was a movie I was really looking forward to because it's about a unicorn. What's not to be interested in that? A horror movie about a unicorn. I really like these scripted horror movies about creatures, and I think The Death of the Unicorn really delivered in that. Jenna Ortega was awesome, Will Poulter again, very good in his role, Paul Rudd, all the actors were there. The horror was actually very fun. The movie meanders a bit too long in certain scenes. The characters talk with each other, argue with each other, discuss things with each other a bit too long, which puts me out of the experience a bit. But all in all, it is actually a very fun little horror movie. Nothing that special, but I had my fun with it. But the best horror movie that I have seen, and actually a movie that I might consider for the top 10, the only one in these first 3.5 months, 4 months, that I actually consider to be great, and that's Companion. And Companion I really love. This is really my kind of horror movie, a horror movie with a lot of twists, with a lot of turns. Also with Sophie Thatcher. Sophie Thatcher is an actress we see a lot more from time to time. Also Jack Quaid was in this movie. And Jack Quaid was awesome in this movie. He really had a fun role. This is just a fun movie. You can have fun with this movie. You just put it on, let it surprise, scene after scene, and just have joy with it. That's this movie, and I think the movie is really successful in delivering that. I really love Companion. Cannot really talk a lot about this plot because I feel this is like very spoiler heavy stuff to talk about, because everything in this movie feels like a spoiler, and it's best to go in blind and definitely not watch the trailer. It's probably too late now while I'm saying this, but the whole marketing of this movie was mishandled, to say the least. Just go in, watch it blind, you will have a blast. And then also the last movie I want to talk about is Warfare. Warfare from Alex Garland, who made my favorite movie from 2024, Civil War. And I thought that movie had some great war sequences. And now this year he comes back with a war movie. He described it as an experiment to make it the most realistic war movie, one of them, to really focus on the witnesses and what the witnesses said, what they experienced, and they really wanted to do everything as accurate as possible. It is really a challenging job to make a fiction movie and to be so much as possible true to the events that actually happened. So that is very interesting. I really admire that Alex Garland tried to do that. I'm not an expert in this kind of area, but I think he succeeded in that. He really delivered a fascinating war movie, a very intense war movie. Also on the sound, maybe a bit too much on the sound. Maybe it was just my theater. Some scenes were very loud. and a bit distracting from the movie. But I really like this movie. This is a good war movie, an interesting war movie with some great acting performances from Will Poulter again, and also from Joseph Quinn, an actor who is recently everywhere it seems, and also very well directed by Alex Garland. So this is also definitely a recommended movie from this year. So these were a bit the movies that I have seen from this year that I wanted to share my thoughts about. Always be free to share your thoughts on one of these 7 movies below in the comments. Would love to read that. What did you think about these movies? Did you like them? Did you not like them? Let me know. Would love to read that. And I think the movie year 2025 will now start this month with movies like Final Destination Bloodlines, the new Mission Impossible, and Stitch is coming. So there are some good stuff coming this year. So these were my talk about movie year 2025 so far, and I will see you till the next time.